So you've prepared your racks of lamb. Some of us have, yes. So you now have a cannon of lamb. What we're going to do is prepare a crust for them. Do you know what type of rack of lamb you've done?
French rack of lamb.
French rack of lamb, yes. What would it be if it had English, if it was an English trim?
It'd have a lot more fat on it.
Okay, and the reason why we've done a French trim and you've taken all the sinew off and you've taken all the fat off is that the crust we're going to put on, if there's any fat lying on there, it's just going to slide straight off.
Does the crust actually flavour the lamb? Or is it just a taste
No,
of it?
it's more because it's not in the oven that long either. We're only looking at cooking these for about 18 to 20 minutes. So in that time, it's not enough to actually get through into the meat, but it will be served. So it's a layer as you serve it. So in your bowls, you've got some butter, and you just need to make sure that the butter's nice and soft, which it should be. And we're going to add various different flavourings to here. So in your right-hand dish, you've got fresh breadcrumbs, no seasoning, nothing, just the bread just whizzed up with crusts and everything.
Should I be doing
what? You can do. If you add your breadcrumbs, and you can start doing that. So that's it. So breadcrumbs in first, just to start, whole lot in, and just to mix that all together. Also a teaspoon of mustard. So if you want to pop a teaspoon of mustard in there as well. Which
this is English, yeah?
English mustard, yeah.
A full teaspoon?
Scant one, yeah, one like that. That's lovely. Unless if you want to do the same. It helps with the flavouring. It gives it a little bit of a kind of kick to it.
I've actually seen the English mustard coated.
Yeah.
Is that the wrong way of doing it?
No, you can do it that way as well. What sometimes helps to, if you want to just put herbs onto the crust and nothing else, what you can do is brush a little bit of egg white onto it, and that will then help the herbs to stick. And then the other two things we're going to add is some chopped fresh herbs, and plenty of them, so you get a nice kind of green colour, and then also some hazelnuts as well, which are just chopped up.
Put them in, chop them in, yet?
Yes, you
what
can
sort
put
of
both
herbs
of those
are these?
in there, we've got thyme, chives,
yes,
parsley, and some mint as well.
I can smell
mint.
Yes. Hannah, I've got a little one-year-old and I'm quite conscious and quite aware of nuts. Yeah,
you don't have to use them. You could just leave them out if you're going to use nuts. Otherwise, use pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds or something like that and crush those up, and then you'll get that texture, because really what you're wanting to get from them is the texture, the crunch to it. Right, so what we're going to do, now that that's all mixed together, we've probably got a bit more crust than we need for your racks of lamb, but what we can do is put a little bit onto the beautifully prepared cannon that we have in front of us. So if you want to take about half of your crust, and it wants to be about £1 coin thick across just the meat. So if you just pop that on the top, and then using your hands is probably the best thing.
Right, put it
Just
straight
to pat
onto
it so
here.
it's not too thick. Yeah, straight onto there. So just onto the meat. So it's just going over that meat section. So other types of crust that you could do.
Oh yeah, because so you might not like this one.
You might not like this one. Wasabi, you both familiar with wasabi?
Yeah.
Japanese horseradish. Very, very hot, and you can mix that with butter and breadcrumbs and maybe some chopped pistachio nuts or something like that. You could do breadcrumbs and butter, and then just do some whizzed up sun-dried tomatoes with maybe some pine nuts or something like that. That's more of a summery one, I would say, if you're going to do it in the summer. Let's put some on that one as well.
Over here, because it's sort of, I feel like I'm sort of responsible for it, and it might be sort of felt left out, you know, if I don't do something when it's sitting out there on its own naked.
And what we'll do is just put it on the top on this one as well.
Oh, just on the top.
Because all it will do if it's on the bottom is it's just going to melt on the hot baking sheet. So just onto the top. That's lovely. Fantastic. So what we'll do now is, if you want to place your racks of lamb onto the baking sheet, and what we're going to do is put them so that they're bones inwards for both of you. That's it. Lovely. So how long would you think that those needed cooking for?
18 minutes, precisely.
About 18 minutes, all right? 18 to 20 minutes.
You're going to say, how do you know that?
Because I told you earlier. What we're going to do is, the way to check them is just to feel from either end, all right? And what you're looking for, if you feel them now as a raw piece of meat, how spongy it feels. To get this to about medium rare, all right? So you've got a nice pinkness, but it's not kind of jelly-like in the middle. This is a very rough guide as to what your meat should feel like. If you hold your thumb to your first finger, have you seen this before?
No.
Okay, and very, very loosely, don't hold it tight at all, and you just press there. And that's what rare meat feels like. All right, as you move your thumb to your middle finger, that's medium.
Oh, clever, yeah.
And as you move it to your third, that's well done. The theory behind that is the muscles tightening as you move your thumb across.
How clever is
exactly
that?
the same as what's happening in there.
You're smart.
All right, so that's roughly what you're feeling for.
And you don't have to flip this over to
Nope, you
to
just
the
leave
naked
it
side?
totally like that. About 18 minutes, and then the really important thing is that you let it rest. And in general, you let a piece of meat rest as long as it's cooked.
Oh, right, I thought it was 2/3, so it's as long as it's cooked.
So
About as
18
long
minutes,
as it's
still
cooked.
leave
So
it to
we'll
rest.
leave it for about 15, 18 minutes to rest.
Yeah.
Covered in tin foil, and that means that you won't get blood everywhere when you come to carving it, and all the juices will be
How do you
retained.
keep it hot?
Just wrapped in tin foil, it will.
Should we put it in?
Yes, we'll pop them into the oven. So we're going to have a look at your lamb now, which has now been resting for about 15 minutes or
Forward to
so.
this bit.
Using the slices here, you just need to get underneath and just very carefully, because obviously the crust just is a little bit delicate on the top, just very carefully lift those off now.
Onto
and
this
onto your,
plastic,
yeah, onto your board, which you've got there.
So bones facing towards us.
Bones facing towards you. So we're going to do it in two different ways. One of you can do a double kind of cutlet, which will consist of 2 bones, and then one of you can do single cutlets. The main thing is that the bones, as you can see on here, are not necessarily always running straight.
Okay.
So when you cut down, it's not, you need to cut on a slight angle, which is the way that the bones
Follow
are
the
going.
line of the bone.
Follow the line of the bones,
Oh, okay.
which actually would be ideal if we could turn this over and have a look at them on the other side. But if we do that, we're going to lose the crust. So with the single bones, what we want to do is you've got a little extra piece of meat on the end here, and we need to ensure that by the time you get to the end, everybody's going to have the same size cuts and the same size cutlets. So what we actually want to do is cut kind of against that bone, so that cutlet will then be the same size as you go across.
Good tip.
All right. You've got a choice of 2 knives. You
I'm
can
going
either-
for the big one.
Okay, I thought you might. Either the big knife or the slightly smaller knife, which is the boning knife, which you were using to prepare your rack. So it's up to you what type of knife you want to use. Nice sawing motion, holding the ribs as you're doing it, that's it, just to make sure that it's nice and secure. Don't hold on to the crust, I'd hold on to, yeah, that's it, hold on to the bones more as you're doing it, that's lovely. That's it.
Beautiful. Now, if I wanted this meat more well done,
Yes, a couple more minutes in the oven, so 2 or 3 minutes can make quite a big bit of difference. So you do, yeah, more like 20, 21 minutes.
now would you serve this with a mint sauce or a mint jelly?
You could do, yes, you could serve it with, the only thing is you might have clashing flavours with the mustard and things. You've got quite a lot of flavour in the crust, have you? Mm-hmm. There's quite a lot of flavour in the crust, so you probably wouldn't need to actually serve it with much else, just some
You
roast
don't need to
potatoes.
serve it with anything. That is the best lamb I've ever done and cooked. What do you think?
It's very moist.
But it's just so flavoursome, isn't it? And just think you'd created that.